Gamescom was exciting, right? A remastered Silvermoon, a difficulty open world system, a brand new 40-man battleground, and count them, 1, 2, 3 raids on release. But I didn't care about any of that. I want to talk about Demon Hunters. After a somewhat surprising appearance in Ghost of Koresh, Blizzard announced some shiny new toys for Demon Hunters coming in midnight, a brand new specialization, and a brand new race to play with. There's a lot of excitement and shit-slinging from everyone, but with every new content release, there's also the delicate, definitely never ham-fisted need to weave the new systems and elements into the very easy to understand World of Warcraft canon. And that's what I wanted to talk about, because there's actually quite a bit to discuss about and theorize. To tackle the easier of the two to begin with, the new specialization called Devourer Demon Hunter is a completely void-themed mid-range DPS coming at midnight, either jumping in and out of melee to deal its damage, or remaining at a distance to dish out big damage. The spec is notable to be using no green abilities at all. All the classic Demon Hunter abilities have been reskinned to void purple, even the glide, and the metamorphosis is very pretty indeed. But more on that in a moment. Now, I know this is all exciting, but bear with me for a bit as I yap about hero talents. The War Within introduced new hero talents to the game. Starting at level 71, characters will get access to the choice of 2 separate talent trees, depending on the specialization, with each hero tree being shared between 2 specializations, creating diagrams that look like these, with 2 exceptions. Druids, being special and having 4 specs, gets this square-shaped system, and of course Demon Hunters have 2 specs, sharing both hero trees with each other, leaving an obvious dilemma. What happens with adding Devourer? What hero tree gets added? What gets removed? What gets changed? My theory, and my favourite choice, was to cut Eldraki Reaver from Vengeance and link it to Devourer with a tree focused on soul fragments. This made the most sense, as Vengeance used soul shards way more than Havoc ever did in their abilities and their cooldowns and etc. And the 2 original specs get to remain being full of Fel as they have been since Demon Hunter's inception. Instead, Blizzard decided to make Vengeance lose Fel Scarred, remaining linked to Havoc with Eldraki Reaver, and creating a new hero tree for the moment called Annihilator, causing in one fell swoop the greatest missed opportunity to add more support to Soul Fragment gameplay, as well as giving Fel Scarred a spec that has no Fel in it at all. The first is only disappointing, as I can't live my dreams of being the Super Soul Sucker 9000 that is Terrangor, but I can't lie that crashing meteors onto the ground is incredibly metal and grandiose, and very on point for what Demon Hunter has been doing for most of their abilities. The second though, Blizzard's solution to giving a non-Fel spec a Fel hero tree is to take the Fel out of Fel Scarred, quite literally. The proposed choice is to have the hero tree just be called Scarred, and presumably still be focused on empowering metamorphosis. I really don't like this change at all. I always felt that Fel was way more physically damaging and altering to the practitioners in lore, and the Void is way more mental focused and way more subtle to any physical changes that might happen. But if that's what Blizzard wants to do, then fine, I'll accept it. There is one interesting question I have though. What exactly is Devourer's metamorphosis? Well, the model is a void purple version of Havoc's metamorphosis, and uses 0 green Fel abilities at all, as I've already mentioned. My initial thought was that Devourer Demon Hunters didn't even eat a demon's heart in the first place, but, well, the meta is still demonic in appearance, and Void Elf Hunters still do have horns here. Because of this, there needs to be some sort of marrying between the Demon Within and the Void's Embrace. Adarisk Duskblaze tried to do exactly this in his questline on Koresh, and proved to have succeeded in the raid Maniforge Omega, meaning Demon Hunters need to be infused with the Void to get these powers. But of course Demon Hunters need to do that. Void Elves in universe need to do this very thing as well. I also think it's quite likely that Blizzard will do the augmentation route, and add a short questline introducing the Devourer spec and its core abilities into the game, hopefully even showcasing some of the actual lore implications of becoming a Void Demon Hunter. That would actually be exciting. That was a little bit of a deep dive into Devourer and its hero trees, and now I want to talk a little bit about the introduction of Void Elves to the Demon Hunter class. This decision is quite a bit more delicate to tie into the canon, as the Illidari is an already very established organization in the lore, and any big shakeups absolutely need careful maneuvering in the story. Not that I think that's a bad thing at all. Lore can expand, and lore should evolve with the times. The Illidari are no different, and in fact, I think they are a much bigger candidate than most to receive such a big change, especially if you consider the Illidari's position in the canon, or, well, the Illidari, and Demon Hunters in general, have been pretty much completely absent since the end of Legion, which was arguably the Demon Hunter show. Demon Hunters became playable, Illidan returns to the story, there are demons everywhere, and there are a host of named characters to interact with if you're a Demon Hunter. Post-Legion, there are precious few Demon Hunters throughout the world, but there are a few. Marius Felbane is still hunting stray demons with his pet warlock in Zandalar. Izal Whitemoon became a Pokemon trainer here in the Azure Span, and Gelandis Fellwatcher is with the Dragonscale Expedition wearing sunglasses because comedy. In 10.2, there was actually a little bit of serious exploration with the Illidari. In Belemeth, the Twilight Watchtower features some Demon Hunter sparring, and this guy Altreus talking about being at peace for the first time in a very long time. There's also this guy, Landaron Fellfury, who is included in a secret Warglaive transmog appearance, the journey hinting that Elune forgives, or perhaps even permits, the use of the Fel. In these examples, we see that the Illidari have mostly nothing to do, and are slowly coming to terms with that. A quiet exit in the greater narrative of the World of Warcraft canon, but surely not forever, right? Right? The Illidari are stoic defenders of their world, whatever the threats might be. They accept no limits to power if it can be used to protect their world and the people they care about, and that is almost definitely the next narrative path that they go down during Midnight and beyond. We see the first canon example of an Illidari chasing such power in the Koresh questline In Search of Darkness, where Adarus, the Void Boy himself, works with the Void Elf Leona Darkstrider to be infused with the power of the Void in exchange of the secrets and techniques of the Illidari. We don't actually see this happen, as Void Boy almost collapses a tunnel and then gets spat out of a portal with a couple of cheerleaders, and Adarus' arrogance probably meant that this would never have happened in the first place, but it's a thought that counts, right? After coming through the quest text of this storyline and the dialogue of both Adarus and Leona, it doesn't seem like this was an organized operation between Telogos Rift and the Fellhammer, so how does this questline lead to Void Elf Demon Hunters? Adarus disappeared to become a loot pinata, and Leona keeps only a weapon for herself. With no other Demon Hunters on Koresh, what's the link? To me, that's pretty obvious. The Illidari would absolutely investigate the deaths of 3 of their own. Every Demon Hunter, after all, is elite, and the Rendori, perhaps Leona herself, would likely inform this situation to the Fellhammer, or at the very least to Magister Umbric, who would then talk to the Fellhammer. Whoever makes the first move though, the Illidari and Rendori would connect, discuss, and then share with each other techniques for the incoming threat of the Void. Void's coming, gamers. Big Void creatures. So great. We see in-game proof that Void demon stuff can work, and know the route to making it happen on a significant scale. Now lies my final and most important question. How do we introduce Void Elves into the Illidari? World of Warcraft is a game where almost every gameplay system and decision needs to have some sort of in-universe explanation, even if it isn't original, inspiring, or even that good. So long as it exists, that's fine by me. This, by the way, is why I'm actually quite impressed that Blizzard didn't jump the gun straight away and add Nightborn Demon Hunters, as the Nightborn haven't had any narrative significance into the story, especially in Koresh. And with such a stuffed first patch of Midnight, it wouldn't give the Shal'dorei the respect they need to introduce this massive shakeup. So with that in mind, it's speculation time. Here is my list of how the Void Elves will join the Illidari in order of how much I like them. Starting with number 1, you just log in on pre-patch and create your Void Elf Demon Hunter with no explanation. This is awful. It does not respect the existence of the Illidari as a faction, and also isn't going to happen, as Blizzard have already confirmed a short introductionary questline to unlock this race class combination. Number 2, the Void Elves do not join the Illidari and operate on Telogos Rift independently. I don't like this either. The operation on Koresh between Adarus and Leona already makes it clear that there is a mutual benefit to learn from each other directly, and since they probably do harbour a demon soul of some form, it's completely counterintuitive to lock the Rendori out of the faction that has the greatest know-how of how to control the powers of a demon within. Number 3. Leona is there with a questline announcing the addition of some Rendora demon hunters to join the Fellhammer. We're starting to get there, but they are still missing a very important factor. The Illidari as an order are very reclusive, quite elitist, and very, very selective of who they allow into their ranks. There has been no new in-universe demon hunters created since the defeat of the Legion on Argus, so this massive decision, in my opinion, needs to be officiated by some sort of face from the Illidari themselves, not the Rendori, not Telogris, but the Night Elves and the Blood Elves that already exist in the ranks of the Illidari. This is where I start to talk about the biggest issue with the Illidari narrative as of right now. A complete lack of characters. In Illidan's absence, the authority of the Illidari is laughably disconnected, to the point where no real lore decisions can be made. Let me explain. The elected leader of the Order is a demon hunter titled as the Slayer, quite literally the player character, spending quite literally all of their time anywhere but the Fellhammer. They're raiding, they're doing M+, they're doing delves, they're doing pet battles, they're farming transmog, whatever they want. It is quite likely that in canon, the Slayer is helping out other adventurers in whatever raid tier is current in the game, wherever in lore there's a threat, but in most cases that doesn't act in the Illidari's immediate interests. It does in the long run, but not immediately, and the demon hunters are very, very immediate types of people. The second in command is not much better either, acting as a roleplay fluff choice between Kain Sunfury, a traditionalist Illidan #1 fanboy, and Altruist the Sufferer, a brooding moderate who thinks that Illidan goes too far sometimes. Naughty, naughty. So what do? We could bring Illidan back, but no, I don't like that. Smashing the Illidan glass panel is only a temporary fix to the problem at hand. They need some new blood, and to evolve past the reliance of Illidan for the Illidari to continue to exist as a standalone faction in modern World of Warcraft. I do have a favourite choice, however. Corvus Bloodthorn played a real significant role in the Demon Hunter Order campaign, frequently accompanying the Slayer on quests, campaigns, and doing way more for the Illidari than these two benchwarmers. She also featured in the Harbingers cinematic, this cinematic, and acted as the ambassador for the armies of Legion 4 during the Broken Shore campaign. All this points to a very clear choice. Looping back round to the topic at hand, Corvus absolutely should be present in some form to introduce the Void Elf Demon Hunters into the ranks of the Illidari, hopefully with Leona Darkstrider present as well. This is also quite unlikely, I think, but I would also want both of these characters to get a touch up to their models. I want them to look very shiny, look very important, and to fuck with it. Make Corvus the elected leader of the Illidari. Get the Slayer out of the leadership position. Get them out of the canon. They probably don't even realise that they are subbing in for Illidan at this point. They're probably for chain running Arakara for an egg trinket. With everything said, I actually feel pretty hopeful for the handling of these new additions to the Demon Hunter canon. I was initially incredibly scared with how Blizzard could have handled it because, Blizzard have never made a questionable decision in their life. But with the relative strength of the War Within writing and the plans to actually address the change to the Illidari, I feel pretty good and dare I say, just a little bit excited about the direction they could be heading in. And that's all I got. I'm a huge fan of World of Warcraft, both the gameplay and systems, as well as the lore and narrative. I really enjoy discussing where lore and gameplay link up like this, and I really enjoy Demon Hunter lore specifically, so the announcements had me thinking a whole lot, enough to make me yap for however long I did. If you ended up watching up to the very end, I would appreciate a comment just to see who ended up engaging and listening and enjoying, and yeah, if I feel this was successful, because this was fun to make, I might make some more. I do have a couple other ideas. But that's it.